Welcome to the Unpacking It live podcast presented by Medi-Share. I'm Bryce Johnson. For the next hour, we will unpack sports, faith, and life with you and the Unpacking It community of sports fans. Thanks to everybody listening on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. Everyone that listens later on the podcast, everywhere podcasts are found. We have got a fun show in store today. The NFL continues to deliver week after week. We're 4 weeks in. We got another Monday night game tonight. This should be interesting. And we will talk all about these close, entertaining games, especially during during that 1 o'clock window. Actually, the 4 o'clock window was great as well, other than my Carolina Panthers losing yet again. We will get into that. The Colts lose again. The Bucs lose, which I find fascinating and great. But the Chiefs, wow, last night put on a show. That was fun. Patrick Mahomes clicking again. When he's clicking, unstoppable. And Travis Kelce to me is the most dominant player, the most unstoppable player in the NFL, and has been for 5 years now? It's truly remarkable what he's able to do on that Chiefs team. So we'll have some fun talking NFL. We'll get into a couple of college football topics as well. The NBA is now starting up in training camp. What intrigues us there? Baseball playoffs will start heating up here soon, and also the records in baseball, very intriguing as well. Aaron Judge, of course, has been the focal point there. And then also we'll do Tap Drill. Henry's back today. And we've got to talk about two things involving Peyton Manning from the weekend. That one was hilarious and one was entertaining. And so stick around for that. Also, last week was my birthday. And this is a tease. I got a birthday card in the mail. And later in the show, I'm going to reveal what was on the inside of this birthday card that I think one of our listeners is messing with me. So we'll share that as a reason to stick around. There's always a reason to stick around, right? I shouldn't have to give you a reason, but there's an extra reason. How about that? But Luke is here, and we'll say hello to him in just a moment. We'll let you know what we're convinced of today, and we'll do Unpack This, actually about Tua. And so I wrote this devotional on Friday about Tua. It was right after that Thursday night game, and this continues to be a huge story with Tua, and I believe we can actually be encouraged by this whole situation in our own lives and how this parallels what all of us go through at certain times throughout our lives. How does that relate to a concussion? Stick around. We'll discuss that as well. We are brought to you by Medi-Share. Check out Medi-Share.com/unpackingit. Open enrollment is beginning. And if you're looking for a new healthcare option, encourage you to check out Medi-Share. So my family, we've been members for over 6 years now, and members of Medi-Share save up to 50% or more per month on their healthcare costs. So find out if it's the right fit for you and your family. Get a quote, Medi-Share.com/unpackingit. All right, Luke, here we go. Your Cowboys win again. Your Texas A&M Aggies lose again. And Kansas football, are you jumping on the bandwagon? Game day's going. We'll talk about that later today as well. But Luke, how are you, man? I can't see Luke, so I'm not sure what happened to Luke. Hopefully, I'm still on. But we'll jump into to what I'm convinced of today. We've had all sorts of technical difficulties today, so I don't know what's going on. But I do know that I'm convinced of this: the NFL's non-prime time games are the best games every week. And I talk about this a lot because the witching hour, that 3 o'clock hour Eastern time on Sundays, is as good as it gets. It is the showcase for the NFL. I know my head is spinning every week. This week we had so many tight games coming down to the wire. Buffalo was coming back against the Ravens. They get the win. Detroit continues to be the most entertaining team every week, and they were in a wild, weird, crazy game with Seattle. Seattle pulled that one out. And then we had Jacksonville keeping it interesting with Philadelphia. The Jags jump out on them, and then The Eagles were able to hang on in a sloppy game there. How about the Steelers? They go in with Kenny Pickett. Then they end up losing to the Jets. Zach Wilson makes his comeback from injury, and he looked actually pretty good. And so a lot was going on. But here's what I read today from Pro Football Talk. According to the league, there have been 49 games within one score in the fourth quarter this season. That's the most ever through 4 weeks of a season. And so in week 4, every game except last night's game, Chiefs-Bucks, there were one score games in the fourth quarter. So 14 games all within one score in the fourth quarter. And so that ties an all-time record. Tonight, the record could be beaten if the Rams and 49ers game is a one-score game in the fourth quarter. And so it's just been nonstop, close games, entertaining finishes, exciting unpredictability. And so a lot of these, though, have been taking place at either 1 or 4. And the national games have been, somewhat of a letdown here or there. We've had a decent game. Buffalo was good at that first game of the season. But even that one they pulled away there too. So I don't know. We haven't, not a lot of memorable national games, but we've seen a lot of tight games in the fourth quarter. And so it's been a blast. So let's say hello to Luke. And man, I'm convinced of these great games down the stretch. It's been fantastic.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. We are battling today. I was ready to go on, and then my computer just went crazy on me. So I lost you. But yes, before I comment on the NFL, you know what shirt I'm wearing. Ooh, can't get it. Right here. The sun has risen on the Kansas Jayhawks. Hosting College Game Day. I'm ready. 5-0. So
isn't this convenient? Isn't this convenient for Luke? His alma mater, Texas A&M, comes into this season with championship aspirations. They get upset by these little Mountaineers in Boone, North Carolina. The season unravels, and now Kansas jumping out of the gate, undefeated, playing great football out of nowhere. They've caught on to the championship bandwagon from the basketball team or whatever is now, in the water in Kansas. And so Luke has made it very convenient, able to switch teams now, and he is on the Kansas bandwagon. All right.
Bandwagon. Right. Okay. I have suffered misery. Like you said, though, Saturday afternoon, I've got 2 screens going up because A&M and Kansas both had the afternoon slot. I mean, I was experiencing every emotion all at once. Incredible joy with the Jayhawks. Stress, it's down to the wire. And A&M, laid an egg. It was bad. It was ugly. I've got a couple of Mississippi State friends at church, and we were texting back and forth. And then I decided to abandon that group text. It was just so ugly. It was bad. So, yeah, the sun has set on the Aggies this season. People are calling it a transition year, which to me is impossible. How many times can we say it's a transition year? Jimbo has all those guys. This should be the peak. There's no transition year. But the Jayhawks, excited. So I missed what year I'm convinced of because I was loading up. But what were you getting into?
Yeah, it's all about these close games in the NFL. And what's funny is I think there are casual NFL fans that tune into national games on Thursday, Monday night, Sunday night. Maybe that's when they watch football. And those games have been somewhat of a letdown. But for the diehards that are locked in on Sundays at 1 and 4, we have been given these entertaining finishes over and over. And so through 4 weeks, it's been as good as ever. And so some of the takeaways, though, from yesterday, I continue to be amazed at the quarterbacks that are actually leading the way this year. Think about Jared Goff, Geno Smith, Cooper Rush. Even Zach Wilson getting the win yesterday. Jacoby Brissett has had his moments in Cleveland.
Yeah.
So we're seeing, now Teddy Bridgewater is going to have an opportunity with the Miami Dolphins. And so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But backups are shining, and now Kenny Pickett, he was a backup. Now he's getting an opportunity. He goes into that game in Pittsburgh, which I found shocking. I did not think Mike Tomlin would make that type of somewhat of an emotional decision there. Trubisky wasn't getting anything done. They had 6 points on the board against the Jets. It's like, what are you doing? You're at home, whatever their field is called now. It's not Heinz Field anymore. And so it's like, it was weird in front of that crowd. But then Pickett comes in. That crowd goes nuts, throws a couple interceptions. Weren't necessarily his fault. Rushes in for 2 touchdowns. First quarterback ever to score 2 rushing touchdowns in his debut game, which is interesting. And then the Steelers still fall. So anyway, you can go any direction you'd like.
Well, I've talked about this before. As a sports fan, I want close games. Yeah, I want my team to do well, but I'm not. I think you and me both, and there's plenty of listeners to the show who aren't just about watching their team, but just diehard sports fans in general. And we'll tune in. This is what been a big learning curve for Madeline in our marriage is after I've watched my team, oh, it's not done. Like, wait, you want to watch this game? Wait, this game is your team's not even playing. I'm like, oh, I know, but I'm all in. I want to watch football. I want to watch soccer. I want to watch basketball. Teams that the game means nothing to my squad, I'm still all in. So close games down to the wire. Oh, it's so
keeps
good.
You locked in. It's hard to walk away.
So good. Oh man.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so, I think yesterday too, a couple things were proven. So Buffalo with the bounce back win, which was good. They lost last week to Miami. So they get the bounce back win. And then the fact that they won a close game, I don't think can be understated because Buffalo was starting to get the reputation they can only win in blowouts. And so to be able to come back against Baltimore and win a tight game, I think says a lot about Buffalo and their Super Bowl aspirations. So that was important. Yeah. And then the other thing, Philadelphia. Now, that was a sloppy game. The weather affected that in a big way. But, there was some emotion involved with Doug Peterson being up there. They got down in that game. Their ability to come back, hang on, and continue to be undefeated in an NFC that a lot of question marks, not a lot of elite play to this point. The Packers, they win yesterday. I still think they're one of the top teams, but they struggled against New England and a third-string quarterback. So for Philadelphia to continue to win, I think is a big deal for them and pretty important.
And just to shout out bottom feeder teams that are rising, Jets and Jags are both 2-2 through 4 games.
Yeah.
No, like 2-2 through 4 for these franchises, we'll take that all day long. The NFL parity is amazing. We've talked about it before. It's disappointing the Lions are 1-3. Oh, I was hoping they would at least be 2-2. They're still America's sweethearts. Everyone's pulling for them. Somehow, every game they play in is like a college football barn burner game. The most points. I don't know, but poor Jared Goff, like, what more do I need to do? I'm scoring high 30s, low 40s, and we're losing. The offense, I mean, without Swift, without St. Brown, and they're still putting up tons of points. Yeah. Lions are exciting.
So I forget the exact number, but Detroit on the season, they've been outscored by 1 point. So the defense has given up, 1 more point. So that's why they're 1-3. So the offense is lighting it up and scoring with anybody, but the defense hasn't gotten the stops. So that's a bummer for them. A couple other things. So the Broncos are in big trouble. This to me was the key game to beat the Raiders and get things rolling. Well, they lost. Russell Wilson was better. He was. I was pleased with that. But then they lose Javonte Williams, their star running back, out for the year. And actually, some people might not say he's a star yet. He was an emerging star, getting better. No doubt. Yeah. And you could see the talent there. And for him to go down for the year, a huge bummer. And I can't trust the Broncos by any means. I don't know
before Williams went down, we were questioning the Broncos big time.
Yeah. So that's intriguing. And then I'll share about my Panthers real quick, and then we'll hear from you with your Cowboys. The Panthers going into that game against Arizona, to me, that was a no-brainer win. I've thought through the start of the season, these were easy wins for Carolina. You know, just winnable games. Like, you got to win these games. You got to beat the Giants. You got to beat the Cardinals. The Panthers always beat the Cardinals over the years. That's that one team that's always been kind of a juicy matchup for us. And so to lose that one at home once again, things here are really negative. It's like, wait, am I living in Cleveland? Where am I? I mean, it's very negative here. Am I in Philadelphia? Is my family here? So this is it's unfortunate because I think there was at least I had a lot of optimism for this year, but everybody's saying, you know, fire Matt Rule, Baker's not the answer. You know, CMC played better yesterday. He was questionable, and thankfully he was catching the ball out of the backfield, which was awesome.
9 catches. Fantasy-wise, he was great, but 27 yards on the ground.
Eight carries. This is your star running back, 8 carries. I mean, that means we have never have any long drives, and he's getting no carries. And of those carries, it's just right up the middle. It's like right up the middle. Yeah. I mean, I can't understand it.
Yeah,
so,
get him to the boundary. Let him run outside.
Let him run outside. It was even like a 4th down play where they try. It's like, who's going to catch him on the outside? Nobody's fast enough. You're telling me he can't get 1 yard on the outside off the tackle or off a tight end. I'm beside myself. And then, of course, I was all in on the Colts this year, and I just saw another Matt Ryan fumble. There's another Matt Ryan fumble. It's truly remarkable that he can't hang on to the ball. And then now Jonathan Taylor's a little banged up, but he wasn't running well either. Offensive line.
Let's not blame the injury. I mean, it's been tough there.
Disaster.
Michael Pittman. I mean, yikes. I mean, it's just the Colts machine is hurting. It's hurting bad. I mean, yikes.
Peyton Manning's not walking through that door.
Oh, well, he left very brittle, that door. I don't think they want him back. He was cut.
That's the one place they don't want. Manning's everywhere. We want Peyton Manning everywhere, just maybe not on the field anymore.
Yeah. Oh, yikes. So I need to repent of being a sports fan who was way too quick to come to a conclusion after week 1. I struggle to balance my pessimism for my own teams. But like when the Packers, week 1 looked awful. The jury's still out a little bit on them. But last year, bad week 1. And I'm saying, hey, the Packers are going to be fine. Cowboys, bad week 1. With Dak, looked awful. I said very confidently, the season's over. Cowboys are going to have a top 10 pick. It's going to be a disaster. And we're sitting here today. Cooper Rush is the first Cowboys quarterback to win his first 4 starts. The Cowboys are 3-1. One of those wins is against the Cincinnati Bengals, who went to the Super Bowl last year. And 2 divisional wins. Cowboys have won 8 straight in the division. And I just need to repent of I overreacted big time. I would have taken 2-2 gladly at this point, but 3-1? The Cowboys are probably going to lose the next 2 games against the Rams and Eagles. And to be 3-3, missing Dak for 5 of those games, my goodness, will I take that. So I need to repent of that. I overreacted way too soon, and the Cowboys they're going to be okay.
So I think we need here, do we allow Luke to bask in the excitement of the Cowboys winning? Do we get to let him celebrate on the show, feel good about it, or he was out? He was out, so he's not a believer. I'm not sure he gets to enjoy it. He's only allowed to be on the Kansas bandwagon now. That's what we're allowing here on the show. I don't know, but I think it's been a really impressive, fun ride for the Cowboys so far. And I was reading today about Cooper Rush, and it would take too long to list off what he's accomplished in his first 4 starts. I mean, he's 4-0 going back to last year, and I mean, he hasn't thrown an interception. Yeah, he hasn't thrown an interception this year. It's like, oh wow, he's really efficient. CeeDee Lamb is now playing the way that we thought he was capable of.
I don't know.
It was almost like we were giving up on CeeDee Lamb.
Oh yeah,
and even Zeke had a nice game finally.
Oh,
so and the defense is unstoppable, or they stop everybody.
I mean,
so
that's the thing. I want to push the brakes on Cooper Rush. Should keep the job. No way. He has done great.
I would say no way. I wouldn't say no way.
Oh, I would say no way.
No,
he has done well to manage the team, but this has been Dan Quinn in the defense, And a much-needed wake-up call to Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy on, hey, we've got to do something different on offense. And I don't know. Maybe Dak getting hurt was the wake-up call this team needed. Cooper Rush has done fine. I don't want to jump on the bandwagon of he's the future, because he's been fine. He's been a great backup quarterback.
Well, he deserves
him up. Oh, really? Seriously? Well,
we'll take him today. He'll start on Sunday. Baker, he's already packed his bags. I don't know where he's welcome, but he can pack his bags. We've seen enough. We've seen enough.
Okay,
just do the commercials.
Let me ask you
this.
The
commercials.
Would you send Matt Rule packing or Baker first?
Rule first.
Okay.
Rule first. I don't know how many different quarterbacks, coordinators. There's been one constant denominator. I think it's pretty clear. It's all very clear. Not to David Tepper, but it's clear to everybody else.
But you're feeling fine though. The rest of the division is kind of whimpering along. Like the division is still up for grabs.
And Atlanta's playing the best of anyone.
Which should make you feel great. Yesterday. Which should make you feel great at winning the division if Atlanta's playing the best football right now. Because surely that can't last. No way.
They don't seem to have the talent. I was talking to a Falcons fan here at the office, and it just doesn't seem like they have the depth and the talent to really keep this going. But they're playing tough. They really are. So but like I told everyone, the Bucs, they're not who we have grown to expect. They're limping along, and they played okay against Kansas City, but the defense got kind of lit up because the defense had been solid first few weeks, and then Mahomes and company showed them, hey, you guys can't stop this creativity. I love the plays. I love everything about when the Chiefs play Chiefs football on that next level, and they're playing, sometimes when they're playing like angry or motivated, coming off a loss, usually we get to see them at their very best. And I'll even say, sometimes I take it for granted. Like I saw the Mahomes throw to Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then, but I didn't like overreact to it. And then later everybody was talking about it and I go, man, I sort of just took that for granted. Like I kind of, there's Patrick Mahomes doing what he does. But it's like, no, time out. He's the only one doing that. Josh Allen can do some of those things. Lamar Jackson to a certain extent, but
no.
So like Mahomes.
This is not to equate them, but I've always wondered, man, what was it like to watch Michael Jordan in his prime? I would have loved to experience that, but I bet there was a lot of taking it for granted.
Yes.
Because you get used to this incredible greatness. So this is a good reminder. Let's not take Mahomes for granted. What he does is unbelievable. The arm angles and him with the offensive scheme creativity, it's a perfect fit. Their play calls, I mean, Shannon commented, there's one play last night where they snapped it to the tight end as Mahomes was fake telling another player what to do for a touchdown.
Good.
Who else is doing that? No one.
And Andy Reid, I guess, has the credibility to be able to try a lot of things and even fail because some of those plays don't work. Like when you're that creative but
they still look good. When they fail,
good, for sure.
It's like, oh, that was an impressive 2-yard gain. That was impressive.
And Tyreek Hill had a big game last Thursday night, and he's still awesome. But guess what? The Chiefs haven't missed a beat. It was weird they lost to the Colts last week. That was just one of those games. But what we've seen overall this season from the Chiefs, they're rocking and rolling. They're good to go. They're in contention. They are a threat to win the Super Bowl once again. And hopefully everybody's coming around. The Bucs are not. So the Bucs are not one of those teams. How annoying am I with the Bucs?
I mean,
I'm annoying myself, but it's happening.
I've never seen you die on a hill like this in our whole friendship.
No, I'm usually not that guy, but I had to go with my gut feeling.
Unbelievable.
I had to go with my gut feeling.
Wow.
I just was surprised that there just wasn't enough questioning about the Bucs, just kind of from the average fan and media member out there. I'm thinking, what team do you think this is? It's not the same team that went to the Super Bowl. Not the same injury. So many guys are injured, and Mike Evans was awesome last night. So he bounced back from the suspension in a big way. So that was a nice game for him.
Look out for him in the playoffs.
I'm saying they're not going to make the playoffs, Luke.
Oh, I know. I'm not with you there.
No, that's all right. All right. Well, let's actually go. Let's talk about kind of the big story is Tua Tagovailoa and what took place on Thursday night. And I am curious how fans, and so I'd love to jump in on the comments. How concerned are you for players that get hurt? And so we talked a little bit about this last Monday when Tua went back in the game. And so, we were concerned for him last week when we got against the Bills. He got up wobbly. Oh no, he's fine. Go back in there, back injury, and then he plays, and the Dolphins win. Well, then he goes quickly with the turnaround on Thursdays, and I do think part of the discussion has to be: wait, are Thursday games really sustainable? No, I mean, I know the money is there, and
from a sports fan perspective,
we love more games.
Give me more games.
But man, for these guys that have to suit up a few days later, especially after an injury, it's really, really tough.
And to have a longer season paired with that, long-term, longer season or Thursday games, yikes.
Really tough, really tough. So I want to talk about this for our Unpack This topic today. And each week we take a sports story related to the Bible, related to our own lives. And so what took place I guess my takeaway from the situation on Thursday night where everyone, reacted and criticized, hey, why was Tua, rushed back in after last Sunday? Why was he even playing? And, it was a scene on Thursday that was hard to watch, where his hands went in the funny way, and it was clear that something was not right. And of course, he had to get, rushed to the hospital, and now he's in the concussion protocol. And so it was all very difficult. But what I realized, and I brought this up last week too, with Justin Herbert playing through injuries, there's this, understanding that football players are always banged up and they have to play through injuries. And it's very much the case. It's the reality. However, a lot of these players that are questionable, it comes down to the wire, they have no business playing. They need the necessary time to heal and to fully heal. And not just, all right, I'm going to push through it, because not what always happens, but oftentimes when your ankle is banged up, now all of a sudden you've hurt your knee, or your knee's hurt, you hurt your hamstring, everything's connected in some way. And so you start favoring one side, and now all of a sudden you got issues, and they compile.
Kevin Durant, calf strain, directly led to his torn Achilles.
That's it. And we celebrate players for playing through injuries. And I do think with the head injuries, it's just something we can't mess around with. And even the tone, I was listening to Mike McDaniel, like, oh, it's just a concussion. It's like, we have to drop the just a concussion.
Yeah.
Like, I saw the movie Concussion, and, open your eyes to it. And you continue to hear these stories of former players that do crazy stuff. And then it links back to CTE, and it makes you take a step back and like, all right, this is a serious thing. We have to when these guys do get concussions, we have to be over the top protective. And we started to be, it seemed like we were heading that direction. And then it sort of pulled back a little bit the last couple of years. Is that fair? I think we were kind of more concerned with COVID the last couple of years, and other things were just taking the attention. And to me, it kind of slipped through the cracks, where the concussions wasn't very much talked about and all that kind of thing. Because think about Hunter Renfrow. He's now been out a couple weeks after his concussion. So the Raiders seem to be handling that, with a lot of care. But of course, Tua got thrown back out there. He's the quarterback. The Dolphins are tasting the playoffs. They can, their mouths are watering for it, and they don't want their quarterback out. And so he played, and he doesn't want to be out. He wants to fight through it.
I know. Some of this is speculation, but I struggle to believe that the NFL really cares at the end of the day.
No.
They care about the narrative. So definitely now, hey, we got to do changes. Obviously, the NFLPA probably cares more because they're representing the players. But maybe this is too pessimistic, too negative, too cynical. But the pockets of people high up in the NFL, of the owners, drives everything. This is entertainment. Yes, people play for the love of the game, but overall, this is entertainment. We're entertaining fans. We're making money. And you need the best players out there. And if you're a really good player, how can we get you out as quick as possible? And if you're a lower tier player, we don't really care about giving you the care you need because we're focused on the big time players. And there are stories. There was a Lions lineman who wrote an article within the past few days of talking about, yeah, it can be hit or miss on the care and the sports medicine and the training that players get or should get. It can be really inconsistent, really hit or miss. And, you know, I'm hoping this is for real, especially with head injuries, because, I mean, yikes, there's no way you can treat it like just a concussion. Like it's a serious thing. There was a guy on Dallas radio within the past week talking about, he was saying concussions aren't injuries. Like he was kind of downplaying. I'm like, are you kidding me?
You're
The
injuring
brain,
your brain.
head injuries are so
What are we
serious.
talking about here? Gosh, it's unbelievable.
I know. So
And-
I just I think that the drawback from CTE stuff, from concussion, I think that makes sense. People weren't talking about it. Okay, yeah, we did enough. There was other things on the focus. Now this is the focus. It'll ramp up again, and then I don't know.
I think so. The way that I kind of want to frame this today as we look at our own lives and parallel this to our own lives is, just the reality that players want to play because they're competitive. They have a persevering mentality, and coaches need them on the field. Fans want them back on the field, and so they have this tough decision to either be tough or cautious, risk further injury and play through pain, or take the necessary time off to heal and really heal. And sometimes players they'll hide injuries too so that they don't miss any time.
Yep.
And the reality is when somebody like Tua experiences trauma, head trauma, been knocked around, he's not at full capacity. And so it's even funny that we want these guys out there when they're not at full capacity, they're not at their best. But to your point, we want the big name guys out there, and we feel like, well, he's the leader, so he's got to play. And so then they play through pain, they put themselves out there, and they risk further injury.
Yeah. There's pressure to keep playing. And also the idea that we should listen to someone say, oh, no, I'm fine, I can keep going, with a head injury potentially, is like, well, obviously we shouldn't listen to them at all because they just experienced head trauma. So you can't go off the player's word. Obviously they want to play, either pressure to support the team, internal pressure, I want to be great, external pressure. Even if it's genuine, I would just want to keep playing because it's fun. There's so many factors, but yeah, there's probably so many cases at the youth level and the professional level of players, getting back out there far too soon because they said they can keep going.
That's right. And it's just not always the wisest decision. And so it's sort of the emotional decision. You get back out there. And so, for Tua, going back to last Sunday, he goes back in that game and then he plays on Thursday, and he didn't go through the proper healing process. And what's going to happen? He's going to end up missing more time. He's going to be out for an extended time. He's already out, now this week, and Teddy Bridgewater will get the start. But now that we look at this from our own lives, the same thing happens. There is value in all of us. We all have to persevere and endure during tough times, during pain. We have to persevere. We keep going. We get back out there. But at the same time, there are moments and seasons that we have to discern and be wise enough to say, nope, I'm out. I've got to pull back. I've got to step away from the game, so to speak. I need to take some time off, and I need to properly heal. And what ends up happening to a lot of us is we keep pushing through. We keep going. We say, all right, I'm fine. I'm fine. Like something major happens in our life. Trauma happens in our life. And we just put our head down and say, no, I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to keep going. But what ends up happening, unfortunately, is we don't go through the proper healing. We end up hurting ourselves or others by not going through that proper healing, by not getting the care that we need. But and the key for us, to your point, Luke, we have to have people around us that can tell us, hey, Bryce, you need a break. Hey, Bryce, you need a timeout. Hey, you need to make sure that you address that issue in your life and get some healing and get the care that you need. And so we have to have those, because what do we say? Oh, I'm fine. I can keep going. I'm going to push the limits. And we've got a lot of people walking around burned out, not healed, dealing with the effects of trauma, and trying to get through life, but things are getting worse and things are compiling, and we're not pulling back like we need to. And so I see the parallel here. And we want to be tough and we want to be like the football players, and oh man, I'll play through it. Um and it's just, to me, not always the wise decision. Sure, there are sometimes we get back out there, we keep going. Absolutely. I know that game. I know the tough days that I've pushed through. But this summer, I had a mentor tell me, "Hey Bryce, you need to take a break. You need to take a break." And I had to listen to him. And so I took some time off. We took a break from the show, and it was the best thing for me. And I've come back with so much more energy and passion, and God's just renewed so much in me. And so it can be frustrating to pull back, to say no to things. So for some of us, it's getting burned out at work or church or home, or whatever it may be. And then some of us have been through, major trauma, death in family and divorce, and stuff with kids, and all those kinds of things. We have to heal from it. And so whether that's, it's always time with the Lord, it's always, prayer, and spending quality time with the Lord, and not going, but it's actually pulling back and getting extended time with him. But it's also, counseling, it's mentors, it's friends that are gonna, speak truth in our lives, and those kinds of things, to say, hey, stop playing through the injury. Just, you got to heal. You got to go through the healing process. And so we don't isolate ourselves. It's not so much, I'm not saying that, where we pull ourselves back and we stay away from the world, but it is getting out of the hustle and bustle. And what I realized too is what we all went through with the Rona. And I read this book called Resilient by John Eldridge that really spoke to this. But this was a worldwide trauma that everybody experienced. And so we all dealt with a lot from that. And many people haven't healed from the effects of all that took place. The isolation, the so much change that took place, so many things that we missed out on, the pain of things that we missed out on, all of that. So we have to go through that healing. And so we seek the Lord, we patiently wait for his healing. This isn't something we can manufacture. It's the Holy Spirit working in us. It's us resting in who God is, and allowing him to move in us. But we have to pull back and get out of the game in order for a lot of this to happen. And so we have to reach out for help from people that are equipped to help us. And so a couple verses to encourage us, to really allow God to heal our minds, bodies, hearts, to help us be more healthy and effective to go out and do the work that he's called us to do. That's what we want. We want to be at our best. And how many of us are just, we're running on empty. We're trying to even do things for the Lord, yet we're not up to speed. It may not be a concussion, but we're just we're banged up. And we need God's restoration in our lives, the refreshment that he provides. Too often we start running, trying to do things in our own strength too. We need to get, kind of realigned with him as well. But Psalm 147:3, he heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds, healing their pain and comforting their sorrow. Isaiah 40:29, he gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Proverbs 3:7-8, do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones. Proverbs 12:25, anxiety in a man's heart weighs it down, but a good, encouraging word makes it glad. And so we need to, get that encouragement from other people, and surround ourselves with those kind of people that are going to help us through, the pain that we've got, the anxiety that we got, the worry that we're carrying. We got to pull back and heal and pursue restoration and release the pain, as we give our heart, soul, mind, body to the Lord. And so it's through his strength, his grace, his love and power, we'll actually be stronger than before. And we'll be able to get back out there on the field, so to speak, and be healed up. And he binds our wounds, and we come back with a different perspective, and we're no longer, oh man, I'm just banged up all the time. I'm just trying to survive. No, we pull back, as we can, trust the Lord to heal us. And then at the right time, we get back out there and we take on more responsibility at that point. Maybe we serve more at church because we're in, a healthier place. And so these are the types of, prayerful considerations that I encourage us to have. We're never going to be perfect. We're never going to, not everything's going to be totally lined up. And so don't hear that either. Sometimes when we are dealing with kind of stuff in our own life, the best thing we can do is go serve because it lifts our spirits. So there's something to be said about that. And so we have to seek God's direction on that to know what the best option is. What I'm saying today is sometimes that best option is pulling back, getting out of the game, whatever that looks like for each of our lives. For me, it meant a few weeks this summer to pull back. And now I'm God's working and excited about where Unpacking it's at and where things are heading in a lot of different areas of my life. So that's my experience. And I'm encouraged by God's word today as well. So want to see Tua back out there as well. Want to see him healthy from a physical standpoint. And he's going to need the proper healing. So he's going to be out for a while to get healed at this point. So there you go, Luke. Hopefully that's encouraging to us today.
Yeah, really encouraging. Probably a very timely reminder for a lot of our listeners. And I think the key distinction is I was listening to you share and explain is the difference between long suffering and persevering as a follower of Jesus and taking a break. Like, as Christians in a world that hates Christ, we are called to persevere, to endure, to keep going, to long suffer for the sake of Christ. But the idea we're talking about today is stop doing it in your own strength, essentially. Like, take a break from operating in your own strength. Maybe that's going to counseling. I've done counseling, especially after losing my dad, went to grief counseling growing up. I needed that. My own strength was not going to help me, and that was an outlet that God led my family to. Maybe it is you taking a break this summer. I need a break to rest and recollect and to re-energize. So maybe it's getting help. It could be a bunch of things, but I think the core is taking a break from operating in your own strength. You don't need to keep playing in your own strength. Like, Tua needs to go. He needs to rest. He needs to go get help. Not, I'm going to continue to muscle up my own strength and go play. No, you need to get healthy, Tua. You need to get healthy with a head injury. And for us, we've got to stop trying to continue to go ahead in our own strength, but actually submit to the power of the Spirit, submit to God, view God as a refuge, as a resting place. We continue to long suffer, continue to endure as a follower of Jesus, but not in our own strength. And getting out of our own strength again is maybe going to counseling, maybe taking a break. Again, it could be a lot of things, but I think that's kind of how I was hearing what you're talking about is certainly it's, like you said, not pull back from culture, the world, isolate. No, actually go surround yourself with good people, launch into helpful things, but defer to the strength of God and God's word and people around you instead of just limping along in your own strength, which will fail you and eventually is going to lead to greater hurt, greater injury, greater suffering. I know I've experienced that in my life. I mean, my own strength fails me over and over again. And it's when God reminds me, hey, rest in me. Hey, you need God's people around you. Hey, you need to be in my word. Hey, maybe you need professional help. And that's been huge for me.
Yeah. And I think, and two other things. We don't need to hide our pain. And so at the flip side, we need to admit our pain, not to act like, I'm good. Dude, you just went through a major crisis in your life, or you just went through this really tough season of life. Have you paused to reflect and heal as necessary? Have you, really sought the Lord to ask him, what he was doing through that, or what what the takeaway is, and have some of those conversations, or you just boom on to the next thing? No big deal. I'm just going to keep moving forward. I think that's the pattern for a lot of us. And I'm suggesting today that there's a better way. And of course it's through Christ and through pulling away, and even look into his example too, because he pulled away at times too. So it's a little different. But I think we saw, Jesus model the willingness to pull away, be with God the Father, in the midst of his, the height of his ministry on earth. So that's a little bit different of a topic, but still looking to him as our ultimate example. So any last words, and we'll shift gears here.
Yeah, I just love the reminder. Admit that you need help. Admit that you need healing.
Yeah.
All of us should, as a Christians, living a life as a follower of Jesus is continual repentance, continually admitting our need, continually downplaying our own strength, our own self-righteousness, working against that, continually looking to Christ. So yeah, admitting that in general we need help every day, but also if you really need help, hopefully have people around you. Surround yourself with people that will be able to see that, but also admit it. Because I'm sure people use that information against you, but in my experience, admitting I need help, admitting, hey, I'm really struggling in this area, I've been met with such grace from God's people around me. And it's very freeing to finally admit, you know what, I really just need help in this area. That's like a burden off your shoulders to, okay, I don't have to carry this by myself anymore. I don't have to feel like I just got to keep playing. No, I've admitted, you know what, I just can't do it anymore. And that actually is an incredible feeling. Not that you should chase feelings, but I think it's evidence that it's a good thing.
People rally around you. Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, hopefully, I know it's kind of a heavy topic, but I hope that people are encouraged by that today. All right. Well, let's we'll keep the conversation going. Of course, it's a football Monday, and as far as college football from the weekend, I pull for Clemson. I love Dabo Swinney, and I know one of our loyal listeners, a good friend of mine, was at the game. He's an NC State fan, so he's bummed today. I texted him, are you excited for the game? He was like, I'm pulling up. So,
he was at the game.
Yeah, he was at the game. So he went home disappointed. So this was NC State's big shot Saturday night. But Clemson, still in the mix. And you asked me this earlier, and I think it's worth throwing out to our listeners today. Because I've been to a game at Clemson. You've been to a game at Clemson. And now, and College Game Day was there. And so they were all, fired up. And now College Game Day is going to Kansas.
Come on.
For the first time. And they went to Boone for the first time this year. And so they go to some of the normal stops. Clemson is on the rotation, of course, as a powerhouse year in, year out. But I guess for fans listening today, what has been the best? We'll keep it in college. What's been the best college football atmosphere that you've personally experienced? And is it your favorite team, and that's the one you've been to, or has it been an opportunity at an opposing stadium? And from the tailgate to the tradition, through the crowd, all that kind of thing, what is that go-to place? And I'm fascinated with Kansas. They have to me, build the football credibility and fandom, because nobody's going to Kansas. Hey, I can't wait for their football program and football season. They've got the atmosphere for basketball season, no doubt about it.
Yeah, for sure.
But some of these programs that have been around for a long time from a football standpoint, even in the down years, the Nebraskas of the world, or Wisconsin for that matter, their fans are diehards, and the atmosphere on game days are remarkable. So you of course went to Texas A&M, so that has to be on the top of your list, but what's your experience?
So Kyle Field at A&M is amazing. Over 100,000 people. But what makes Kyle Field amazing is more so, I mean, I guess you could say this for a lot of schools, but the fans, like just the A&M fan base, the 12th man is amazing, and they're loud all game long, and they stay and they stand the whole game, even for the band. So as a fan, it's a great experience. But I went to the Clemson game, senior year of college, when A&M went and played at Clemson. That was awesome. Being in Death Valley, I'd love to see the other Death Valley, LSU. I'd love to go see a game there. But the Clemson players getting in the buses, driving around campus, running down, touching the rock. Dabo Sweeney being a All-American sprinter, running down, leading the team. That was really cool. So yeah, Clemson definitely has to be up there. And I'm trying. There was one more. I'd love to hear. Did you have a good experience at Clemson? For me, it was like my team's playing there, which made it really cool. But Clemson, because they have water too, people pull their boats up, and you can watch the game from your boats. You can like drive your boat to the game, which is unique. That's similar to Baylor. Baylor has that in Waco. You can kind of watch from your boat, which is unique. But what Clemson game did you see?
App State played at Clemson, and we weren't great that year. I don't think. I think we got blown out by Clemson, so it wasn't a great experience for me. But I liked Clemson. I thought it was a really cool tailgate setup, lots of space,
amazing tailgate.
Yeah.
Oh, unbelievable. A&M's is decent. Clemson's was unbelievable. One I want to see. It's a resounding like this is the best. Is Ole Miss in Oxford. I've heard from anyone who's been to an Ole Miss tailgate, the tailgating scene there, they said it's second to none. It's unbelievable. So
that's cool.
That would be cool. And then one more. I didn't grow up an OU or Texas fan, but was friends with a lot of OU fans. The OU Texas game at the Cotton Bowl at the state fair every year in Texas is really fun. Because you go to the state fair, you walk into the game. It's a sea of reddish, maroonish, sea of burnt orange. That's a really fun football atmosphere. So I would recommend going to that game if you can.
So the places I've been: Michigan, LSU, Penn State, South Carolina, Clemson.
Oh my goodness,
Georgia. Georgia is the one for me.
Really?
I thought Georgia was awesome.
Better than Penn State? I feel like Penn State would be amazing.
Penn State was cool, but their fans were weak.
Were these all app games?
Yeah. All app games.
Wow.
Yeah, we've played a lot of teams. And I missed a couple I missed a couple here or there, but those were all really cool spots. So when I went to LSU, a hurricane was coming. So we had to bump up the game and then head out of town. So that experience was sort of unfortunate.
Yeah.
But LSU is huge. That place is unbelievable. Michigan was awesome, of course, because we won that game. So it's like it's hard to even view that in a reasonable way other than what we did that day. But then I just like Georgia. They had some cool traditions and the structure of their stadium and the college town that they're in. I thought it was a great setup. So. That was fun for me, but App lost pretty good that day. So there you go.
Lawrence is going to be great this weekend. Lawrence is such a great college town. The best sports venue I've been to, period, Allen Fieldhouse. I was on the brink of tears it was unbelievable being there, but Lawrence is going to be crazy this weekend. Can you imagine beginning of the season, if someone would have told me, hey, Kansas is going to host College Game Day as a ranked team against TCU, who's also going to be a ranked team. I was like, wait, what world are you living in? And yet this is a big game. This is a big game. TCU just killed OU. Kansas is 5-0. Man.
Gosh.
Let's go. Lawrence is the place to be.
Man. No, that's going to be fun. So that's very cool. All right. Before we're running out of time today. Before we bring on Henry for Tap Drill, we got some fun topics with him. I teased this, so I want to bring this up. This is just an opportunity to tell everybody it was my birthday last week. No, I'm just kidding. But well, kinda. But so I got this in the mail over the weekend. I got a birthday card.
It's the biggest card I've ever seen in my life.
So this is a
8 by 11
big birthday card, and it came in a huge envelope, like an extra sized, almost like a document envelope. Okay, so I open it up and hope your birthday is filled with beautiful things, and then it says, Bryce, happy birthday. Love the show. Okay, so it's a listener. Have a little faith. We're turning it around. One day, one practice, one game at a time. Go Panthers. Best. Coach Rule. Keep pounding. Go Panthers, go. So I have a feeling I know who this listener is pretending to be pretending to be Coach Rule because he's my only friend that is still on the Panthers Matt Rule bandwagon, and got all excited about the one win against the Saints, a banged up Saints team, which we should not have gotten too excited about. But how hilarious and clever is
amazing.
this? I almost want this to be a trend now. I kind of like this. We should
Let
start
it be
sending,
said, I'd like to say that I
friends-
did not receive a card from any loyal listener. So I'm a little jealous, So
I'm going to have to confirm who this was from, but it's also hilarious. When's the last time you've used whiteout? Have you used
elementary
whiteout?
school? I'm a scribble out guy, and I'll just keep the same thing. I don't mind sending someone with a scribble out.
This has whiteout on the bottom. It says "Go Panthers Go" in whiteout.
Need orange out.
So I'm not sure what was written there before, but "Go Panthers Go" had to be rewritten with whiteout. So there you go.
For an orange card, what's worse? Whiteout? I would say whiteout's worse than just scribbling it out.
I would think so.
It's more intrusive. Interesting. Yeah. That's funny though. Whoever sent that, you're a great listener, and we need more. Make this a trend of we'll have a card that we can read often. What did Bryce get in the mail this week? Hopefully it's good things.
I like that. So yeah, you can pretend to be whoever you want to be. send it in. So we'll try to read those on air. So good stuff there. All right, let's say hello to Henry. We've missed him the last couple of weeks, but let's do a little tap drill and tap around some other topics around the world of sports and beyond. Go ahead, Henry.
Boys, it's great to be with you again. I'm glad I'm back. I'm back in the building. Let's hit it up with Tap Drill. First question. I don't know if you guys caught the latest Manning cast, but SNL, Saturday Night Live, did their sketch of the Manning cast, and the cast did their impersonations of Eli and Peyton. So, boys, if you saw it, what did you think of the Manning cast skit?
Oh, my goodness. This was the cold open for SNL on Saturday night, and it was absolutely hilarious. I mean, the Peyton Manning impersonation
it was strong.
Was strong. It was dead on. Eli was a touch on the goofy side, but it was funny too. But I thought both were really good. Oh, you didn't like the Eli? You didn't like the Eli? I thought it was okay.
Eli
was a little
seemed
too
really
childish.
off-brand. To be fair, Eli deserved it from the Penn State thing, the Chad Powers. That was the biggest fail of all time.
That was hilarious. What are you talking about, Luke? Everybody loved that.
No.
Everybody loved Chad Powers.
If you thought
this is a Cowboys fan talking.
No,
Get out
if you thought
here.
anyone, there's no way anyone was like, wait, that's Eli Manning. Everyone knew he was Eli Manning. That was the worst disguise of all time.
No, those
Are you
18,
kidding
19-year-old kids, they did not know that was Eli. No way.
They only didn't know of him if they've actually never known Eli Manning. If you knew who Eli Manning was, Eli Manning in disguise. All right, I'll fake my way. Oh, it's bad. I'm a hater.
Come on. No, you're a hater. I thought. Well, anyway, back to the SNL skit. I thought it was really, it was funny, the impersonations of both those guys, and the fact that the Mannings have now made their way into SNL is pretty crazy.
That's how you know you've made it.
That's pretty crazy. I know SNL is taking a step back, but they're not.
Have they both hosted individually? SNL.
Yeah, they were both funny. Yeah.
Each of them individually have hosted SNL at one point or another.
We need Cooper to host SNL.
That's right. Cooper still the funniest.
Unreal.
They've got to get him on the Manning cast. He's got to be a part of that. I don't know why he's not. I guess because he's on Fox. But still. Is he still on Fox? I actually never watched that show.
No, did you guys know that Cooper is actually on Peyton Manning's game show?
Oh, true. I tried watching that one. I couldn't get into it.
No.
Not as much.
I haven't seen that. Judging by your reaction, I don't think I will be.
No, definitely not. All right, Henry, next one.
All right, next tap. Have you guys seen Pat McAfee lately? Well, I'll tell you, he's not in wrestling anymore, that's for sure. I'm not too sure what's up with that big buckle belt, but that's a whole other story. Pat McAfee did his first megacast during the NC State Clemson game. So, guys, what did you think of Pat McAfee's performance on the megacast?
I thought it had potential. So he's a great personality. He's very entertaining. I was reading an article about today, and I agree with this. They had too many guys because it's this whole show, and then they had AJ Hawk and a bunch of guys that were there in the studio. There's just too many people. So to me, the game was too secondary. These mega casts, it's great when the game is still a part of the conversation. Otherwise, you're just watching another show. So I think McAfee, responding and being a part of, oh man, there's a big game, and for college football to tap into him and his brand and his show, I think is good. But they gotta be more involved in the game, I think, in order for it to really work. That would be my takeaway on it. But I was entertained by it.
Yeah, I'm just too much of a game purist.
It's not your audience. Yeah, I like the entertainment side.
You like the. I like the Manning cast. I do. Not nearly as much as you do.
No, I can't wait for tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the game is. Oh, it's 49ers Rams.
Yeah.
But
Big
yeah,
game.
Manning cast on. Okay, great. I'm in. Well, I don't care what the matchup is. I'm in. So I look forward to that.
Yeah.
All right, Henry. Next one.
Yeah, Pat McAfee being on a megacast is kind of like The Walking Dead. If you've ever seen the series, in the beginning of the series, it was a lot about the zombies. But then towards the end of the series, the zombies kind of take a backseat to the conflict between everybody. That's kind of like Pat McAfee, so to speak. You like him, but he's not the focus of the show per se.
Wow. did not know we were talking zombies today. So I know it's Halloween month. Everybody's trying to get their zombies out.
I know it's Reformation Day month, baby. That's what we celebrate.
There you go. That's good.
Happy Reformation Day.
There you go. Switching sports. Did you guys know in between all of the sports going on, NBA training camps are about to begin? Or if you have seen them, they've already begun. So, boys, what is the storyline that you're going to be looking at for the NBA this year?
I got one. And
Go
it
ahead.
is the Phoenix Suns just lost to an NBL team in preseason.
The
Suns are a disaster. Disaster. Their last game was getting destroyed by my Mavs. And now they're losing to NBL teams? What are we doing? Their whole roster played.
So this of course is low-hanging fruit, but these are the two most interesting teams. The Lakers keeping Russell Westbrook and the Nets keeping Kevin Durant. How do those relationships, it's a nice little soap opera the rest of the way. How do they play on the field, and then how do they get along, in locker room and everything else? So that to me is very intriguing this year. And then, I'll be curious to see which team emerges kind of in the East. Like, to me now, the Celtics are sort of
Cleveland. Cleveland is interesting. I'm very excited to see them play. They have a great. How is Kevin Love not 86 years old? To me, he's the longest tenured player I've ever watched. It feels like he's been in the league forever.
Interesting.
Wait, he played for the Timberwolves? How long ago is that? 30 years?
How
is he still starting in the NBA? It's crazy.
Actually, I don't know if he'll start. He might be he's probably more of a backup at this point.
At least in the marketing picture, he was in the starting five.
Oh, was he? Interesting. Because Atlanta's going to be better. Don't worry about my Hornets. They're not any good. So we're in a tough city now these days. So it's
you're out on the Hornets this year.
I was actually anyway, I had the 3 TVs rolling yesterday in the man cave. On one of them was the Hornets preseason game because we didn't get the Panthers were on at 4, and so I had an opening at the 1 o'clock.
You had an opening.
I had an opening, so I slid in the preseason game, but it was not pretty. So unfortunately,
sound like a football doctor. Yeah, I've got a 3:30 if you want to
slide you in at 1. All right, we'll do one more.
All right, guys, and by the way, Bryce, don't pay attention to the smokestack that is the New York Knicks over here. We're just going to be over here, just kind of wishing that somebody would just want to play for our team.
Hey, my boy Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell was going to go to the Knicks. He said he wanted to go, but didn't happen.
He did wanted to go, but the Knicks didn't realize that they were trying to. The Knicks were kind of being too smart for their own good. And so they tried to outduel Danny Ainge, and Danny Ainge was like, "All right, so you want to play chicken? All right, I'm gonna go over here."
Yeah.
So don't worry about the dumpster fire. That's the Knicks over here.
They're still always intriguing, no matter what.
All right, guys. Last thing, and let's go into the world of TV now. September, October is the time where your favorite series comes back. We got new stories, we got new characters. So, in the off chance that you guys are not watching sports, is there any particular TV show that you're looking forward to? rumor has it that Bryce is a Shark Tank guy. So, Bryce, what do you think?
Yeah, Shark Tank's the one for me. Always look forward to it. I love when a new episode drops because I don't necessarily watch it live. But they actually did a live version of Shark Tank the other day. Was not a fan of that one. They had a studio audience, and it was painful. They tried to like ask audience questions, and it was awkward. So anyway, this past week they got back to kind of the normal thing. Now, there are some products or pitches that I'm not a fan of, and I'll fast forward, or Jody will say, hey, I don't want to watch this one. So there's some of that. But overall, yeah, I'm a huge fan of Shark Tank. Love hearing the stories and listening to the Sharks debate and negotiate. And I've been watching actually since the beginning. I missed a couple seasons just when life got crazy, but overall, I've been watching since the beginning. Huge fan. So is there a show for you, Luke?
Take the mask off. You're not watching Shark Tank. You have no time. You're watching Masked Singer, Masked Dancer. Come on, get Shark Tank out of here. You're not. No way. I know what you're watching. All the sports you watch, you have time for a couple Masked Singer episodes, and that's good enough for you.
I like the Masked Singer, even though this season has not been great. 2 episodes in, I'm not thrilled with what we've seen so far.
Yeah,
but I do not, just to clarify, I do not watch the Masked Dancer. I only watch the Masked Singer with Jody. So I'm fine with that.
Allow me to plug again Downton Abbey. Phenomenal series. May have to rewatch that.
Isn't that over?
Oh, we're
talking about new shows and fall season. You're talking about old-timey show that's old now.
Yeah.
Come on.
So
you give me a hard time about the Masked
what I'll
Singer.
say. This is another conversation for another day. But on principle, I'm a movie guy over show because I hate shows that make me just chase the carrot. And I'm like, okay, well, this episode ended. Okay, now there's more drama. Okay, I'm not satisfied. And I go to bed angry.
Luke.
It's horrible.
That's the whole point.
Oh, no, but it's annoying. And then I get
sucked in for weeks. You want it all buttoned up in an hour and a half.
So Madeline's a big Survivor fan. So through osmosis, I've become at least neutral about Survivor. But I'm boring. I'm a documentary guy. I just love watching documentaries. On Netflix, the Untold ones, great. The Manti Te'o documentary, the documentary about the NBA officiating scandal.
Oh, yeah.
Was fascinating. So I'm just a boring documentary guy. I don't watch. I mean, Seinfeld's a go-to, but yeah.
No, that's cool.
I'd rather watch a movie and know I'm satisfied. 2 hours, okay, I know what's happened.
Yeah.
TVs are just 60-hour-long movies that you just break up and watch. They just take too long.
We'll throw that out to the crowd. People listening, are you more TV or movies in the fall when you're not watching sports? Because I always like a good breather. Tuesday, Wednesday nights are my breather.
We're close to the transition to Hallmark movies, which I'm all in on. And, I mean, it's
December.
October. I guarantee Hallmark's already playing movies.
No, I can't get into the Christmas ones until December. I got to wait till December. Right after Thanksgiving. Maybe that final week of Thanksgiving.
My mother-in-law loves the Hallmark Christmas channel. She will sit there and will watch it all day.
Oh, it's so good.
Now, personally, I'm an NCIS guy. Give me NCIS all
great
day,
show.
every day.
Great show. Because after those shows, it's done. Each show can be its own standalone show. That's why I love it so much.
That's why they work so well.
NCIS,
that's exactly it. They
Bones, Numbers. Come on, every show is just a little mini movie.
And just to give you a little bit about NCIS, Mark Harmon is not even on the show anymore, and it's still going.
Good for them. That's great. I did watch the LA one for a while with my boy LL Cool J.
Yeah. What do you and Jody watch?
We watched Shark Tank and The Masked Singer, Abbott Elementary. You like that one? That's a good one about the teachers.
Yeah,
that's fun. Oh, and then The Neighborhood. Oh, I watched The Neighborhood. I forgot to mention that.
Yes,
that's my favorite show. That's Monday nights. The Neighborhood.
Yes.
Cedric the Entertainer. Huge fan. Yeah, that's always a good one. That's a feel good. Yeah. So that's what we got. That's what we got in the rotation. All right, guys. Hey, enjoyed it. Henry, glad to have you back, man. Fun times. Gosh, what a weekend. Here we go. Your Giants are 3-1. Cowboys are rocking and rolling.
My
Panthers are struggling. So the best thing I got going are the Bucks not winning. That's that I get my most joy from that.
Paul commented, your Carolina Hurricanes undefeated in NHL preseason right now. So
okay.
If you want
take
to,
it.
if you're looking for a new team to support, your local team.
I might need to. I might need to.
Hey, or
Absolutely.
AAA baseball, Charlotte Knights. Maybe it's a good season in store for them. Speaking of great stadium,
Baseball's over.
Fun games.
Baseball's over.
Charlotte Knights are fun games. You're looking in all the big buildings right in center field. Fun environment.
Yeah, speaking of that, actually, let me do a quick plug. So the Unpacking It golf tournament presented by Strategic Planning Corporation is coming up October 17th. So we're 2 weeks away, and we are actually we will be either silent auction or raffling Knights tickets, a whole suite package, or like special tickets. Not a suite, it's a special tickets.
Get your
you
hands
get some
on
cool
those.
stuff. Yeah, so you get some
Any
cool
Charlotte
stuff.
Checkers
that
tickets?
reminded me. No Charlotte Checkers, but I think we have Panthers, Coca-Cola 600, and then
cool.
Knights tickets. I shouldn't say suite. It's not a suite. Not to now.
But
now
they
I'm
are
like
sweet
downplaying
tickets.
They are sweet tickets. There you go. That's it. So anyways, we got some cool stuff. But yeah, if you want to support the golf tournament, you can check out unpackingit.com/golf. So encourage you to do that. But for Luke and Henry, I'm Bryce. Thanks so much for listening today. I'm a sports fan who follows Jesus. I believe in the good news that he died on the cross for my sin. He was resurrected, and through faith, I've been saved by his grace. I hope that is true for you as well, and I hope you'll join me as we live life as sports fans who follow Jesus together. Have a great rest of your day, and we will talk to you next time right here on the Unpacking It Live podcast presented by Medi-Share. And again, the encouragement today, if you need healing, get healing. Seek the Lord. Let him heal you and help you get back out there. Sometimes we have to pull back in order to get back out on the field, but let's heal first and allow him to work in that time that we pull away and pull toward him, pull people around us to encourage us, get the necessary help that we need, the care that we need. Let's care for our souls. And let's rest in the Lord in that. And so let's get refreshed, rejuvenated to get back out there. So that's my encouragement. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks so much.